it's me, Jan. One of the things that we are going to talk about is ChatGPT. So I've got a couple of things that I use in my firm, especially when I was working with teams. We had a lot of people that would ask questions, need some help, and not always a senior person was there. Even if you were a senior person, sometimes you just had to get some questions or some answers done and a little bit of assistance. So I created this GPT, and what we're looking at right now is called ChatGPT. If you haven't used it, don't be afraid. It's the newest kind of AI trend out there, and I'm going to say trend because there's a lot of things, but I would love to show you one of the tools on how we use GPT I created called Bookkeeper Buddy. I've loaded it with tons of information and things to kind of help team that might need a little bit more in an AI education. And, you know, if you've ever had that problem where you sit there and you're like, oh, debits and credits, like which way does this go? Because your brain is so tired. And right now it is, because we are in February, kids, and that means you're super busy. But one of the things I'm going to teach you guys is how we can get prompts to help us work on our work and make it faster. So I'll show you what's safe to put in AI, catch errors before clients do, and how this works for reconciliations. So quickly, I'm going to just show you my Bookkeeper Buddy and give you a quick, I'm having a resource for our team. And I'm going to upload this 2 sets of practice financials that I have, P&L and the balance sheet. And, you know, sometimes you get right before a client meeting, and especially like when you have team members who aren't confident going in front of a client. So I'm going to just ask it, I need to meet with a client and talk to them about their financials. Could you help give me some pointers about these financials and questions that I can point out to the client, not questions, things I can point out to the client, and give me any kind of suggestions on how to go about our meeting in reviews. And I'm using a tool so that I can communicate faster rather than type that out. So now you can see that what's going on is we've got our financials that are loaded here, and chat is reading those documents for me. And in just a second, it's going to pop out some pointers for the bookkeeper or the accounting team member in order to meet with that client. Okay, so it thought for 1 minute and 40 seconds, which is a little longer than it usually does, but I had it in thinking mode. Now you can see what it's doing is telling me, here's a solid way to run the meeting from specific call outs to these financials. Start the meeting with alignment, right? So it's giving pointers to the person. Make sure that you and the client are talking about the same thing before you start interpreting anything. And that's a great tip, right? Your headway, the 60-second story, talk about how the profitability looks strong, but liquidity is tight. Point out the balance sheet, specific things to point out on the P&L, revenue concentration. The number one expense driver is interest. Property taxes are significant, right? So this is a great narrative for you to touch base with a client, but also so that anybody who is not as confident has a roadmap to talk to the client.